Hey, so what happened to the Deadpool compilation video? I couldn't find it. Well, it once again got demonetized and blocked by YouTube. I figured out why it was demonetized. The original FB put an edit in the video that uses the C word. The C word? You know, the one that rhymes with runt. Anyway, I'm re-uploading it with an edit, and then I'm going to re-watch it. You down? Hell yeah. I want to see how bad you guys were at your job and see if I can learn from your mistakes, losers. Oh, you're going to be insufferable through this, aren't you? Where the heck were you? What? I was using the 20 minutes of previews to get a concession. There are no 20 minutes of previews, ass. This is a YouTube video. I was waiting for you this whole time. Well, excuse me. I like to snack when watching a movie.
Oh, hello.
Hey, that was a pretty nice intro. Love the music there. Who's it by? Check the description.
Hey guys, if you're not going to consider any movie you make away from Disney a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you could at least spare us the 12-second comic book flippy logo for once.
This particular logo denotes that Deadpool isn't a part of the MCU, but that doesn't mean that this obvious Marvel character shouldn't get the Marvel logo in front of his movie.
Talk about things that did not age well. Also, what's up with this microphone? No room treatment, a lot of reverb. What was y'all's budget back then? Oh, I see what you're doing. You're going to be the analog for the audience here, aren't you? Great.
Ryan Reynolds tries to claim a crown that clearly would first belong to me, Kevin James, Al Sharpton, Dax Shepard, Norm Macdonald, and at least one famous YouTube prank channel personality. Get in line, dude.
As this film features fourth wall breaking, especially in these opening credits, this is actually referring to Deadpool himself, not Ryan Reynolds, who is a separate entity in this film.
Speaking of fourth wall breaking, why do you guys sound so different? Like, he sounds even more depressed, if that's even possible. If he's supposed to be a version of you, what the hell was wrong with the voice actor doing his voice? Well, he was sick that day, so he decided to... Wait, you can perceive the Birdman? Who the hell is the Birdman? Girl, you crazy.
Movie acknowledges the existence of Ryan Reynolds in this world, so how come Wade Wilson doesn't constantly get barraged by autograph hounds and paparazzi when he is so clearly Ryan Reynolds?
The sin here is because you acknowledge what I just stated about Ryan Reynolds, but didn't go back to edit that previous sin. Lazy. Also, you just stated that the movie acknowledges the existence of Ryan Reynolds, meaning that Wade is not so clearly Ryan Reynolds. I can understand you not paying attention to movies because, hey, you're you, but not paying attention to what you just said?
It's amazing any movie can be released in 2016 and feature only one moody teen. Flat out incredible.
Okay, but you just send the movie for doing something you consider positive.
This movie finally calls out the Stan Lee cameos, and yet still features a gratuitous Stan Lee cameo.
At this point, it's tradition that Stan show up in a Marvel film.
You rang?
No, not that Stan. Anyway, how much you want to bet you attempt to double send this when the actual cameo happens? Cause I'm betting 500 sends.
Not once during this entire movie does Deadpool comment on or complain about the weird mask nipple that forms at the back of his head when he wears this thing, but I will.
Sins like this are what's wrong with your mantra of the books don't matter. This is how Deadpool appears in the comics. The explanation is that Deadpool made the mask himself and made a mistake, leaving too much slack, kind of like a pantyhose mask, which ultimately makes it funny. This is like you asking why Spider-Man's costume is red and blue, and the answer is that's how it is in the comics.
What does Miss Mama June taste like?
Like two hobos f***ing in a shoe filled with piss.
How do two hobos that want to f*** each other even decide a shoe is the perfect setting? And how do they fit into a shoe? We've taken a weird hard turn into a discussion of hobo geometry and smellonomics.
No, we've taken a weird hard turn into Jeremy doesn't know what a joke is, and because his fans claim that
These videos are just jokes.
that's extra sinful.
I just realized you guys did the entire video as the other FB. I wonder how well that went over, given that you both sound like you're the protagonist in Old Boy at the end of that movie. Not particularly well, but that's okay. We don't have to be liked. We just have to be right.
Is that an Adventure Time watch? Jesus, pander to the nerds much? Also, reference that will be outdated and downright lost to time within a few short years cliche.
You're watching a comic book movie complaining about it pandering to nerds. It's like you don't even proofread the things you write. Also, as long as this exists, Adventure Time will never be outdated.
Baking pancakes, making bacon pancakes. Take some bacon and I'll put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes. Bacon pancakes, making bacon pancakes. Take some bacon and I'll put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes.
Okay, this is disfigurement for sure, but it's not like no one could ever love him level disfigurement. It's not like he's Eric Stoltz in Mask. The movie, strange as it is to say out loud, doesn't go far enough in uglying up Wade Wilson.
Okay, but it's not about uglying up Wade. It's about being comic book accurate. And this is what he looks like in the comics. I'd say it's pretty damn accurate.
Whose balls did I have to fondle to get my very own movie? It does rhyme with pulverine.
Yeah, but last I checked, Wolverine didn't have that much clout at Fox. He's a VP of production in name only.
Suggesting that huge jacked man doesn't have clout at Fox.
He's got a nice pair of smooth criminals down under.
Making me mentally picture Hugh Jackman's presumably shaved testicles.
Aren't you the same guy that says boner every other video?
Deadpool leaves his Walkman and his cassette copy of Shoop, both of which must be hard to come by in 2016, on the guardrail above as he dives down for revenge.
Oh, I just took 5 seconds to Google that, and I'm fairly certain he can re-record Shoop onto a blank cassette, probably using the also hard to find TalkBoy. Oh, no, that's also easily found through Google. Not to mention, this isn't a cassette player in the first place. He was listening to it on the radio.
Did I leave the stove on?
This is hilarious, but he's clearly moving at full speed to say this line, even though the entire everything around him is in slow motion.
Admits an obvious joke is hilarious, sends it anyway.
Also, Deadpool tells Hacky "Did I leave the stove on?" joke in the middle of this action scene. And oh yeah, I almost forgot, this scene does not contain a lap dance.
Pointing out things that are and are not happening on the screen cliche. Also, earlier Jeremy seemed repulsed at the thought of Hugh Jackman's balls, but now he wants a lap dance in a scene full of men. You know what they say about those that try hard to prove they're not gay.
This movie will make a joke about this later, about how they couldn't afford any more X-Men to be at the mansion, but couldn't they have hired some extras to pretend like this mansion is full?
You literally just said it. This is set up for the joke later. If they did what you suggested, the movie would have been robbed of one of its funniest jokes. You actively seek to make movies worse.
This guy's got the right idea. He wore the brown pants.
How can Deadpool see which guy he's pointing at from behind this car?
It's a joke.
I only have 12 bullets, so you're gonna have to share. Let's count them down. 3, 2, stupid! Worth it.
Deadpool hilariously wastes 2/3 of his remaining bullets. And okay, fine, it's funny. But then he lucks out more than almost any movie character in history by having the last 3 henchmen line up perfectly of their own accord, so Deadpool's single remaining bullet could still wipe out the opposition. He didn't know they were going to do that. And yeah, sure, he's an unkillable, re-healing bastard who would have found some other way to kill the henchmen. But that's not the point, damn it. The bullet wasting is the point. You can't act like that matters by counting it down for style points and then cheat in the end.
Says who? Says you? You do realize that you're watching a comic book movie, not a Scorsese flick, right? I mean, it's almost requisite for a CBM to have cool, sometimes impossible moments. The Avengers had the team in a circle moment. Iron Man had the mini rocket takes out a tank moment. And Suicide Squad had... Well, that didn't have any moments, but you get the point.
Classic.
This is cool, but bullshit. Cool.
Nope, wrong again. Mythbusters proved that this is possible. They demonstrated that a .50 caliber handgun round is capable of penetrating at least 2 watermelons and bounces off the third, which is exactly what happens in this scene.
Here, our hero uses the 1990s gangster flick method of turning his gun to the side, which everyone knows is bullshit and makes it harder to hit your target.
It's a joke. This is fucking Deadpool. This is who he is. If you would actually read the comics on these characters, you wouldn't be so lost and wrong when talking about them.
Also, oh look, a bullet can't penetrate 3 skulls in one shot, only 2.5, giving Deadpool another non-Francis person to have to take out.
Again, this is you not taking the time to delete your previous sin after having been proven wrong about what the movie is trying to say.
You're probably thinking, my boyfriend said this was a superhero movie, but that guy in the red suit just turned that other guy into a f***ing kebab.
No, actually, I didn't bring my boyfriend to this feature pool. Your narration is narrow to the point that maybe only 1% of the entire audience actually even came close to thinking what you just said.
Deadpool is referencing his movie's R rating, albeit in a humorous way.
And who placed the call?
I did.
How did this guy at his apartment not see Wade anywhere while he was here? Did he just get home? If so, it's kind of lucky he didn't need to use the bathroom, huh?
Am I going to have to say it's a joke 100 more times in this video?
Jeremy, is it? I'm not here for him.
I'm here for you.
Movie named Stalker Pizza Shame character after me, and I'm equal parts honored and insulted.
Come on, man. This isn't a sin of the film. Jeremy is a super common name. Hell, my real-life younger brother is named Jeremy.
Also, ignoring the fact that Wade was able to figure out that Jeremy would be the one delivering this pizza, this is an insane way to confront it. I mean, why not find out where he lives, or track him down outside the pizza parlor? Instead, he orders a pizza at another guy's apartment, I guess for the comedic value?
Yes.
I'm living to 102 and then dying, like the city of Detroit.
Huh? What does that mean? Did Detroit live for 102 years and then die? Or is this just a cheap Detroit joke?
Either way, it was a f***ing joke, you
I was dead.
Me too. Uncle.
Uncles. They took turns.
At some point, this movie got completely bass-ackwards on the definition of wrong comedy versus the definition of a couple steps too far.
Opinions like these are why Jerry Seinfeld and Dave Chappelle no longer perform at college campuses. Let me explain something for all you snowflakes out there. There is no such thing as too far when it comes to comedy. Comedy, believe it or not, is a form of art, and art should never be policed.
Hey, that's not how you skee-ball. And isn't there usually a window or something that prevents you from throwing the ball straight into a hole?
As you can see here, no, not at every location.
I love what this movie is going for, and I actually totally buy the love between these two. But the amount of sex shown, and the length of time it goes on, totally unrealistic to any real relationship I've ever known in real life. This is movie love, where sex happens every 6 hours. That shit is an illusion.
Two things. First, this isn't every 6 hours, as they're only showing you the occasions in which they have sex, which seems to be based on the season. And second, notice that he said,
Totally unrealistic to any real relationship I've ever known in real life.
anecdotal evidence is not evidence at all, and just because you and Mrs. Sins have never gotten it on like this doesn't mean that the rest of us haven't.
Deadpool takes out Francis like a bitch in the early scenes, but the big final climax thing will have you wondering why Francis is able to hold his own for a 10-minute fight with Deadpool.
I just want to point out that this sin proves that Jeremy has foreknowledge of movies but always pretends that he doesn't in order to bullshit his way into a sin.
Yak off, Smirnoff, opening for the Spin Doctors at the Iowa State Fair. Show.
Wow, after the Limp Bizkit joke and the Wham joke, all Wade needs to reference now is Nickelback, and the easy pop culture punchline Wheel of Destiny can be completed.
Jeremy sins the movie for doing something he always does, which is a pop culture reference.
What I also don't get is how freely and cluelessly Wade gives up all his rights as a human being to a group that then tortures him for months and maybe accidentally also gives him powers. I mean, this is the ultimate I didn't read the terms of service example, right?
The man is dying, as in he has terminal cancer in multiple vital organs. In a world where superpowered beings definitely exist, most people would try something like this after exhausting traditional medicine, I would think.
Wasn't talking to you. I was talking to them.
Movie misses the opportunity to show a group of schoolchildren just out of the camera's view so that Deadpool's fourth wall breaking could remain a little cheekier than this.
Jeremy tries to make a movie worse with his garbage ideas ex machina.
Man, it's taking the cops forever to show up to the scene, isn't it?
Pointing out things on the screen cliche.
Let us go talk to the professor.
McAvoy or Stewart? These timelines are so confusing.
No, seriously, it's weird when Deadpool makes jokes like this. It sort of undermines almost anyone's motivation for doing what they do in this movie when the main character is acknowledging it's a movie. It's also funny, so you can see the bind I'm in.
I'm sorry, I need to interject here. You see, this is why the books fucking matter. Deadpool is a character that constantly breaks the fourth wall in his comics. The other characters ignore this because they believe him to be insane. It only makes sense for him to do this in the film, or else he wouldn't be Deadpool. Pick up a fucking comic or read a wiki page for once in your life, you son of a dog dick sticking in the buns of the replacement quarterback. Go to the doctor to take it out. You androids dream of electric sheep. Guys, he's going to be at this a while. Just go to the next sin. That's sure are you. Hey, PB, look what I got. It's an orange flavored juice box. Oh, sweet. You got the peanut butter pretzels too? Oh, shit. Son of a...
You were a little firecracker, weren't you? I have my moments.
Deadpool intentionally breaks all his hands and feet in fruitless attacks on Colossus, then saws off his hand to escape. My question is, what happens if he falls and splats on the street, instead of lucking out and falling into a moving garbage truck? Doesn't Colossus easily collect him and take him prisoner?
Yeah, sure, but that isn't what happened, so why is this a sin again?
Well, sew your pretty mouth shut.
Har har, reference to that other terrible movie where Ryan Reynolds played Deadpool until he stopped mid-movie in protest.
With the way you just said the word other, that comes off as if you're suggesting that this movie is also terrible, in which case...
So the neck head restraints here didn't prevent this headbutt? What could he possibly have done to hurt her? Yeah, he's stronger now, but he's still restrained, and she's also a mega mutant with unbelievable strength, so shouldn't this feel more like a love tap?
You just showed a scene showing that the neck restraint has some slack, and it's not that it hurt her, it's that it surprised her. And since you asked two completely different questions in this one sin...
Remember, this is a fight between a guy with super sharp reflexes who can feel no pain, and a guy who can feel pain but heals no matter what. Meaning, if you think about it too much, this fight loses all meaning and impact.
No, if you actually thought about it, you'd realize that Ajax can die.
Francis, who experimented on this dude to make him magic, leaves him for dead in a warehouse fire, because Francis is the worst kind of stupid. Overconfidently Bond villain stupid.
Are you sure that's worse than CinemaSins stupid, or...
You look like Freddy Krueger faced a topographical map of Utah.
And you sound like the director just let you riff for a few minutes and somehow picked the worst riff of the bunch.
I'm sorry, but this shit was hilarious, so fuck you.
Salsa water and lemon for blood. Or wear red. Dumbass.
She's blind though, right? She smelled the blood? The f***? Regardless, how the hell does she know his clothes aren't already red? Does blood not stain red shirts?
Jeremy doesn't know that you can smell blood, or that the point of the scene was to suggest that red hides blood better than other colors, as she clearly also smelled the peroxide from the Tide pin, which would suggest that he's using it on a white fabric.
Dumbass.
Wait, was this guy on the ice when Deadpool shot or stabbed him at first? The blood trail starts in the middle of the ice, so did Deadpool bring this guy onto the rink, shoot him, and then go get the Zamboni?
This is something that a 10-year-old could answer for you. Yes, he incapacitated the guy while he was on the ice and then went to get the Zamboni because he's Deadpool.
Looks on everything.
Looks are everything.
Deadpool teaches millions of teenagers the wrong lesson.
I would argue that he's actually teaching them the right lesson. Let's stop babying people and telling them lies like looks don't matter, because they quite obviously do. It's literally the only reason Jennifer Lawrence continues getting work.
Have fun at your midnight showing of Blade 2.
Extremely self-aware movie misses the opportunity to reference Blade Trinity, which is the part of the series Ryan Reynolds was in.
This is them referencing that in a roundabout way, you idiot. Not everything is, hey, here's this reference, laugh at this, like you want it to be.
Give it up for chastity!
Stan Lee cameos finally reached their inevitable meta apex.
Called it.
So, come on, Stan Lee didn't even create Deadpool. But I always forget that Marvel movies are contractually obligated to fanboy whenever possible.
Fun fact, Walt Disney didn't create the character Goofy either. It was created by someone who worked for his company, but Disney's name is still on everything. Do you see where I'm going with this?
Hilarious, and it leads to a great montage, but it's all pointless considering the script on the next page calls for you to forget all these guns before getting out of the taxi. So basically, hilarious waste of everyone's time.
That's the joke. You suck, McBain!
Wait, didn't I already use this? Shit.
It's a big house. It's funny that I only ever see two of you. It's almost like the studio couldn't afford another X-Man.
Strangely enough, though, they could afford another Independence Day.
This analogy thing, it's not for you, buddy.
We only ever saw this chick while Wade was strapped to a torture table. Now she's going haywire on Colossus, who broke Deadpool's bones just by taking a punch.
Are you attempting to say that they don't explain angel dust and what she's capable of? Because wouldn't this count as the movie doing exactly that?
For the record, they don't really ever explain Negasonic's powers either. This looks like actual flames coming off Negasonic here, but all this power does is inconvenience Angel for a couple of seconds.
Does it really need explaining, though? Do you really want the movie to come grinding to a halt and just start listing off characters' abilities? Because that's what we've got Google and Present Birdman for. Hey, PB, do the thing. You know, the thing you always do. Gladly. Negasonic Teenage Warhead has superhuman strength, speed, durability, matter manipulation, the ability to absorb and harness radioactive energy.
Wait. Why the f were your subtitles red there? Is that an editing mistake, or...? Yes, it was a mistake, Stan. You're lucky I didn't bring the spray.
Oh! Or on the left.
Colossus's weakness is that he's too much of a gentleman, even when the woman he's fighting is pure evil. I mean, I guess they needed to do something to make this a fight. Nah, not really. She's been hanging with him the entire time, so why is an exposed breast the method she needs to get back into this?
Well, giant boobs tend to be most guys' weakness, including PB. I'm an ass man myself, so he'll learn. Hey, I like legs. he'll learn.
So, did you learn? Nope, still legs. Nothing beats a set of tree trunk legs with a pair of stockings and high heels. Anyone can have a big ass today. See, Ascended Birdman didn't know this timeline would be infested with OnlyFans chicks with BBLs and Taylor Swift legs, walking around looking like pregnant letter eyes walking backwards. So no, legs all day, brother. Well, at least you're not a feet guy like Stan. Those motherfuckers need to be in Guantanamo Bay.
Honestly, how is an air-sucking gut punch even possible on a dude made of metal? The physics of this fight between these two leaves a lot to be desired.
How fat are you that your gut is where your dick should be? You know what? Don't even answer that.
I'm left to wonder why Deadpool takes several minutes of climax to defeat a villain he utterly schooled and pinned earlier in the film in about 30 seconds. Yes, I asked this earlier, but I'm asking it again because it's blatantly unaddressed by the film. Answers?
Because earlier, Deadpool caught him attempting to run away, whereas this time, Ajax has a chance to defend himself. Yes, you did ask this twice, and it's twice as sinful that after the first time you didn't go back and recognize your mistake.
Like most Canadians, Ryan Reynolds just can't help but have Biebermania.
I think you'll find that most Canadians were happy as when he left the country.
How good-hearted is Colossus? He's saving even the chick he spent the last 10 minutes fighting. What a guy! Stupid, but kind.
Sinning Colossus for being a good guy.
Me and you are headed to fix this butterface.
Did you really think there was a cure for that?
Gotta side with Francis here. How stupid does Wade have to be to believe anything told to him in a torture chamber?
Considering he was also told that he would gain superhuman abilities.
So maybe that's why he brought the People magazine, but that's still in the bag he didn't bring, remember?
He obviously snatched that page out before putting on the mask, which was obviously done before he forgot the bag of guns.
Also, how did he even see through those eye holes and his mask during all the fighting?
But that's a joke, boy. You missed it. Went right past you. You gotta keep on your toes. But toes, that is. But the fast ones get right by you. Keep your ears open.
It's a face I'd be happy to sit on.
Bonus points to the movie for simultaneously grossing me out and turning me on. I shall call it the vomit boner.
Take it away, PB. Jeremy says boner.
Well, that was fun, Skis. Give me a second. I gotta go to the little Blanca's room. Well, hurry back. It's my turn next.
Seriously, how long do you think they'll wait before they put a replica of the castle from the Magic Kingdom right between the 2 and the 0?
An eternity, because that will never happen, you moron. Disney is absorbing Fox, not the other way around.
Jesus Christ, if you're gonna subvert something, movie, try working on these 36 seconds of f***ing logos.
Channel that artificially makes their videos 15 minutes longer than they should be upset about 30 seconds of logos.
Hang on, this is ultimately a pretty shitty apartment, right? But there's a 6-burner stove? That's like chef quality.
This is a big chill stove, something that is made for the home and is in no way professional chef quality.
Wolverine. Sitting Deadpool for narration is like sitting chocolate chip cookies because they contain chocolate chips, but I actually prefer chocolate chipless chocolate chip cookies. And we've got a job to do here, so narration.
This is something I've never understood about this channel. You are technically narrating, so this is Jeremy Sins a film for doing something he always does cliche. Also, chipless chocolate chip cookies?
Chocolate? This is doo-doo, baby! I said, ah!
Guess what, Wolvie? I'm dying in this one, too.
Yeah, but not really. Like, you're asking for an emotional payoff for multiple fake-out deaths in this movie. At least Logan had the decency to stay deceased.
You are actually technically incorrect. Deadpool does factually die in this film. Using a time machine to bring someone back to life isn't them never dying. Besides, do you really think James Howlett is dead?
What kind of plan was this? And how long was he waiting in there? Is this really more effective than, say, jumping out from behind a tree? Or was Ryan just longing to relive his time on the Buried set?
I'm going to invoke Future Birdman here.
It's a joke. I'm so angry. I'm so depressed.
Dude, don't make fun of me. Well, you don't forget the f***ing pretzels next time.
Making fun of his demeanor. Now look at you. Dude, did you even wash your hands? Of course not. I'm Birdman, not Birdwoman. What does that have to do with anything? You still gotta touch things. Not the way I do it.
Let's see Captain America do that.
Dude, there are some great f***ing shoutouts to other superheroes in multiple universes, but doesn't this one feel forced? Like, other than spraying the funeral with bullets, couldn't Cap do all the shit Deadpool's doing here?
This is a reference to Civil War and the fact that this guy looks like Tony Stark. Also, you're suggesting that Cap could do what Deadpool is doing other than spraying the funeral with bullets. Except that's exactly the only thing Deadpool is doing.
Sure, we are far enough away to not see that it's Wade doing some Deadpool dancing. Why are these guys right up front still cheering like they think it's Demi Moore from 20 years ago?
Other Birdmen showed you a photo of Deadpool cross-dressing in the last video. I'm just saying, in a dark strip club with a few drinks in you.
Aside from the fact that these Yakuza have caught a bad case of one-at-a-time-itis, why doesn't a single one of them have a gun on them? No one thought to bring a Jacuzzi Uzi?
Japan has pretty strict gun laws. So strict that even the Yakuza have difficulty obtaining them.
Dozens of severed arms, legs, and heads, but yes, please blur this man's giggle stick, because who will think of the children?
This isn't so much a sin of the film, but more of an indictment of America's puritanical weirdness about the human body.
Isn't this more a reference to the genital censorship that Japan does? You know, the country that produces porn but blurs out the best part? I guess you could say that. I would still argue that movies, even rated R ones, have trouble showing nudity in sexual situations. Gratuitous violence like the Terrifier movies is totally fine, but we can't show someone getting a real BJ? I just don't understand this country sometimes.
You gotta grab those dreams by the tip and make it rain.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means is a cheap and easy beat in a comedy movie cliche.
This kind of stuff is why channels like mine exist. This is the most nitpicky of nitpicks you could ever nitpick. This shit is not funny, it's boring, and literally doesn't need to exist in a video called Everything Wrong with Deadpool 2. Because this isn't something wrong with Deadpool 2. This is you stretching a video far past its necessary length. Seriously, you're like a fucking YouTube bureaucrat. 20 cents.
You can't be sure till I get the suit off, but all signs point to yes.
Man, Deadpool movies have as many poop jokes as a goddamn Shrek movie, and I'm sinning that crap. Number one, it totally taints this franchise and is a stain on the skip.
Baby factory's open for business.
Oh my god!
Oh, that's sweet. But like most superheroes that choose to procreate, you gotta wonder about some things. Like how much Deadpool's mutilated DNA would affect a fetus. Is he okay with potentially having offspring that is impervious to death? Does he even have sperm that could fertilize? Oh, wait, this totally means Vanessa's gonna die, so we won't have to think any further about this.
Well, first of all, most normal people wouldn't give a shit about any of that nonsense in the first place, but that's not how genetics work in the X-Men universe. Deadpool's DNA isn't mutilated, it's mutated, and mutant DNA isn't passed down the way you're suggesting. Wade's child would have something slightly different than a healing factor. For example, Mystique is the mother of Nightcrawler, and other than blue skin, they share no abilities. Fun fact, Deadpool does have a child in the comics, and while she does have a healing factor, she must die first. Comics are weird.
Strangely, when I said this, a few people in the comment section tried to educate me on mutant genetics, especially about the Nightcrawler example. What they didn't know is that male mutants usually only pass their X gene to daughters, not their sons. So Nightcrawler's father, Azazel, is an anomaly in this respect, as Nightcrawler seems to have inherited his X gene from both mother and father. This video was also made long before the stupid retcon of Nightcrawler's parents making Mystique Nightcrawler's father. So there's that on top of all this. The anti-woke mob is not going to like it when they adapt that in the MCU.
You are not your father.
I know we're trying to squeeze some substance into this sequel, but is this really what we're here for? If Deadpool knows he's in a movie, he should know that she's about to bite it, right?
None of what you just said makes any coherent sense. What does the fact that Deadpool is aware he's in a movie have to do with the movie trying to squeeze substance into the sequel? You just said some words and gave the movie a sin.
What about Bruce?
Wait, did Deadpool somehow develop Spidey sense? Or did Morgan Freeman train him to do this by getting his ass kicked by Angelina Jolie?
Jeremy makes a pop culture ref.
Do we have to do these credits with all the in-jokes again? Isn't the Bond parody and the genuinely good Celine Dion song enough? That's like saying narration or roll credits or f***ing logos, man, in every video. Wait.
I was extremely tempted to remove a sin here, but then I remembered that you're trying to do my job for me. Therefore, Jeremy would be excellent at the Birdman.
You smell like sauerkraut left in the warm rain.
This goes on for some time and gets progressively less funny.
Kinda like CinemaSins.
I thought you saw me with your ears.
Man, it's hard to overstate how shitty these movies would be if anyone other than Ryan Reynolds was playing this character. I'm conflicted on whether this qualifies as a sin. F it.
Jeremy sins something that he likes cliche.
Also, until he gets to the gasoline trick in the apartment, how the would Wade expect any of this crap to kill him? He's clearly survived much worse, so this is really just for the audience.
A comedic movie doing funny things just for the audience. Oh, I guess we better sin that.
Hey, it looks like Wade made it to the Upside Down.
A pop culture reference that isn't...
Ness, there's something here I can't get to you.
Are we really supposed to buy into this emotion? You can't spend 3 minutes asking me to take you seriously, and the rest of the time making dick and fart jokes while breaking every fourth wall in sight, he says, self-referentially.
This is literally every comedic film ever. There's always going to be a dramatic bent to them. I mean, you realize that you're asking for a film with nothing else but dick and fart jokes, except you already waste a large amount of your audience's time sinning said dick and fart jokes.
Blessed are the wicked who are healed by my hand.
I feel like the writers used all their supply of villain nuance on Cable and said, F it to the rest of the bad guys.
Rest of the bad guys insinuates that Cable is also a bad guy, and he's not, so...
So is there the same fight between humans and mutants in this universe as there is in the X-Men universe? Seems like Deadpool and the other mutants are able to operate with impunity, with no resistance from humans. But here, they drop us into a mutant conversion facility with barely a mention of the underlying politics.
How can you watch 2 Deadpool movies, both of them featuring X-Men, both of them constantly mentioning Wolverine, and not put it together that these movies are a part of the X-Men universe?
I said no touching.
How long has Wade been here? He's just now getting introduced to the rules and meeting NTW and Yukio for the first time, but he's super well healed after having been blown all the way up. Doesn't that take a long time to reverse?
Again, these words have nothing to do with each other. He obviously healed off screen and then headed for Xavier's school.
I'm sensing some audience pushback for when you said headed, given the fact Colossus was the one that dragged him to the school. Yeah, I suppose I could have worded that better. There were a lot of things I could have worded better because quite often I was a victim of being completely misunderstood in the early days, like this upcoming series of sins.
And how does he even heal? We've never seen his parts reattach before. They just grow back. So did this body eventually sprout from his head? I'm just saying the whole aftermath of the catastrophic suicide attempt is way yada yada here.
This is not information required to enjoy nor understand this movie. It's a comedic trope to show someone get destroyed, but then they're fine in the next scene. Think Wile E. Coyote. But here we go again with why the books fucking matter. Yes, Deadpool can regrow his entire body from just his head. He can also heal from his severed limbs reattaching themselves. All of this information can be found in the comics or Google. And to you pesky commenters that are going to give me the whole, I agree with what you're saying in these videos, but the books don't matter. If I have to research to understand, let's stop that shit right there. The point is never that you have to read a book to understand a movie. The point is, if you're going to criticize something, then you need to know what you're talking about. And that requires the knowledge of the source material.
Hilarious bit. Truly a laugh out loud moment. But why? What are the X-Men doing in there? Why couldn't Wade hear or see them before now? Why wouldn't they want to talk to Wade anyway?
It's a joke, you joke. Dude, stop mocking me before I tell you when you die. All right, I'm sorry.
One of the assholes who killed Vanessa got away.
He means himself, so this is really just a slight modification of the pronoun game. And you know how we feel about that shit around here.
I'm sorry, what? He said Vanessa's murderer got away. This isn't him referring to himself, like, at all. You're just making shit up.
Like this one in particular. In the movie, Deadpool does mention it was himself who got away, but only after Colossus mistakes what he means. What I was trying to get across was the movie was attempting to trick the audience with words there. As you see, Colossus's reaction serves as an analog for the audience, but that did not work out well at all. I should have reworded that sin and came up with a better way to get my point across. Well, I'm glad you realized your mistake, mister, and don't let it happen again.
The f*** is Colossus doing calisthenics for? Does his metallic shape really require cardio?
You are aware that cardio is short for cardiovascular, as in dealing with the circulatory system. That has nothing to do with his metallic outward appearance.
This kid needs to be in the icebox, not here.
Russell belongs in our care.
Man, this sure is a casual conversation to be having while only several feet away from an out-of-control fire-throwing mutant.
Who is currently not out of control nor throwing fire.
Despite the other two going straight backwards as a result of Russell's fireball, Deadpool somehow curves up into this window, just so we can get a Super Force Wolverine Ryan Reynolds joke.
I mean, he kind of hit him with an uppercut, and let's try not to call out forced jokes there, Jer. Because, yeah.
Get a power restraint on him, now!
So the human police have collar restraints for the mutants? Like, where'd they get that technology?
From days of future past.
And if it's available, why the hell is the headmaster using that f***ed-up throat device that clearly doesn't work?
Because he's the headmaster of an orphanage and not the police.
My whole life, I've been waiting for someone to come and save me. Nobody's gonna sacrifice anything for me.
Foreshadowing.
Okay, let's see now. Shadowing. No results for sacrifice. Hey, Jeremy made that up.
Nothing worse than a pray the gay away type guy.
In case you missed the allegory about the mutant rehabilitation, Wade's here to properly smash you over the head with it.
Wait a minute. Earlier you said...
But here they drop us into a mutant conversion facility with barely a mention of the underlying politics.
But now you're complaining about the movie beating you over the head with that allegory? As there are multiple party fouls here, I'm just going to start listing and sinning. Jeremy feigns ignorance cliché. Jeremy asks for something only to later sin when he receives it cliché. Jeremy pads the sin count ex machina. Jeremy would be excellent at being a dumbass. Jeremy doesn't edit his sins after receiving new information. This scene also doesn't contain a lap dance, but Jeremy doesn't sin it. I don't give a shit about what my audience wants, so instead of Infinity War, I'll probably make a video about Scream or some shit, head ass.
Sure, it makes a nice symbolic touchstone for us, but how exactly did Deadpool manage to bring this sentimental token in with him?
The same way Rocket managed to smuggle the eyeball that he gave to Thor. Oh, that's from that movie that apparently doesn't exist.
Little confused. You made 2 references to Infinity War in back-to-back sins. What happened? This video was before Jeremy released his Infinity War video. Up until that point, it was a running gag we had that made fun of them for not making that video when everyone was asking for it. That's how Baramy was born, and the parody videos came about, literally because CinemaSins waited forever to release the Infinity War video.
Damn, once you get inside this prison, apparently you can go anywhere.
I mean, if you're blowing holes through the walls, sure.
I'm pretty sure the last few minutes of this action sequence qualifies it as arm mutilation porn, and there's a good chance that it— Skip! Oh no, Wade has been injured. I totally care about this because he's never gonna recover.
Well, this is a dumb sin because up to this point, the movie and the marketing made it pretty clear that Deadpool was going to die in this film. So you're sinning the film with knowledge gained after having watched the whole film, which brings up 2 points. 1, you have feigned ignorance in this video multiple times, so that's worth at least 5 sins. And 2, this should shut up your stupid ass fanboys that try to claim you sin these movies from the perspective of someone that is watching them for the first time, because that's clearly bullshit.
Wait, how did Wade almost die again? He just hit his head on a rock and fell into a lake, which is really no worse than all the shit that Cable did to him back at the prison. Damn it, movie, what are the rules?
You've heard of Jeremy asking for explanations and then sending the movie later when he receives it. But now, coming fall 2018, Jeremy asks for information that he just received in the same sin. Future Birdman, what are you doing? I was, because, well, you know, you were doing the whole video by yourself. I can't leave the mic for 2 seconds. Just stand over there. People didn't like your voice, okay? Yeah, okay, whatever. I don't care anyway. Trying to do something nice for them, you know, change it up, and then they shit on me. That's cool. I mean, I'm not hurt or anything. Hey, it's okay. We'll just wait a few more episodes.
You guys were cute.
I'm lucky.
That's not a superpower.
Yeah, it is.
No, it isn't.
Wade's dismissal of this becomes a running joke, but is it that crazy of a notion, especially compared to all the other shit they're seeing today?
Yes, it is. Imagine after an invisible person, a person with acidic vomit, and an electromagnetic field manipulator, someone comes up to you and tells you that their superpower is that they're lucky. I'd have a hard time believing that shit too.
Everything usually just kind of works out for me.
Like 2008 Ryan Reynolds.
I don't know who that is.
God damn it, this is getting f***ing grating.
But now you're cheating though. You were sinning the fact that characters kept saying, I don't know what that means. And now you've moved the goalpost to, I don't know who that is.
Bring on the carnage, baby!
Why is the mutant that spits acid wearing a guard that would keep him from doing so? I mean, I know Cyclops has his special glasses, but that's because his gazer beams are always on and need to be contained. But considering this guy hasn't even spit acid once, I'm not sure what this is supposed to do for anyone.
Zeitgeist wears this mask, even in the comics, so that he doesn't accidentally vomit on anyone. I mean, he's courteous as fuck.
Also, is this really the most efficient drop-in for Cable to make? Like, wouldn't it be easier to pick a shorter building? Or just be on the ground waiting for the convoy? He ends up running after them on the street anyway.
I mean, Future Birdman told you last video that Jeremy seeks to make movies worse, and voila, here he is doing it again.
I'll admit it's mildly frustrating that Deadpool and Domino both have actual superpowers that completely short-circuit any attempt at they survive this. But since Cable and Russell were on there too, they survive this?
Okay, all jokes aside for a second. When Jeremy says,
I'll admit it's mildly frustrating that Deadpool and Domino both have actual superpowers that completely short-circuit any attempt at they survive this.
This to me sounds like he's admitting that when a movie makes sense, it's frustrating for him. This calls into question the veracity of the claim that CinemaSins is a joke channel. I mean, I already knew this, but those that are on the fence should be alarmed at this statement because they're telling you in no uncertain terms that because he can't pull one of his running gags, it mildly frustrates him. That doesn't sound like a person that enjoys movies.
I'm gonna rip you in half now.
I never thought I'd prefer anything from X-Men The Last Stand, but at least their version of Juggernaut was much more believable than this. Like, why is this character even here?
What the f*** does believability have to do with anything? You're watching a comic book movie. Not to mention, this version of Juggernaut is far more comic book accurate than that bullshit from The Last Stand. The only thing missing is them stating that he's Xavier's brother. This is what I'm talking about when I say you want to make movies worse.
I think they did mention he had a brother, FB. Yeah, another sin I assumed the audience would know what I was talking about. I meant them saying it out loud, not hinting at it, which is what they did. Hey man, this was 2018, my time. I was naive.
Also, why is he so pissed at Deadpool anyway? There are plenty of other people around here to maim if he's just in the mood. I suppose there's some explanation in some rando comic from 1996, but they could also say something about it in the movie, you know?
You know, I'd love to see your version of a comic book movie. It would probably be 15 hours long for all the times they would have to explain something.
Dobbs, get me out of here, please. Use my arms as backpack straps.
Help me understand how Deadpool experiences pain. We know he feels what happens to him, but then does it immediately go away? I mean, he's sitting propped up here, completely split in two. Wouldn't that still at least sting a little bit?
I mean, yeah, but with the amount of times his body has been completely wrecked, I'm quite certain at this point he's desensitized to pain.
You picked the wrong hole to future boy.
Is that really necessary?
The discussion in the writer's room somehow made it into the final script.
For as much as you bitch about this movie reusing jokes, you sure do the same stale jokes in 80% of your videos.
It's at this point in the movie that the score consists of a chorus repeating "holy balls," which is funny, but really only in the same way as Billy lighting his farts on fire in middle school.
Disagreed. That is extremely clever for a film that breaks the fourth wall so much.
Okay, so we covered Blind Al being blind, Deadpool breaking the fourth wall, Deadpool being maimed in various ways, poop jokes, and Dopinder being nerdy comic relief. Did we miss anything else from the first movie? Oh, I almost forgot to impale DP in the head during the last act. Whew, that would have been embarrassing.
Shh. Nobody wants to hear all that nonsense you're talking about, Jeremy. You're missing one of the most hilarious scenes in this movie.
Big CGI fight coming up!
Sure, but just because you call attention to it doesn't excuse that.
CinemaSins a self-referential film for being self-referential.
You commie mother...
That's racist.
Ooh, swing and a miss. The word we were looking for is nationalist, but thank you for playing.
That's how we do it in Mother Russia.
Really? You take down supervillains by shoving a live wire up their ass and use a force blast to propel them into water? Man, I knew Putin was bad, but this is a whole new level.
Oh, a Putin joke. That's really clever and not easy at all.
I appreciate the effort to make this ending emotional, but given that this will all be undone in this overtly insubordinate movie, I can't get on board. It's like trying to trick yourself into having an actual orgasm when you're f***ing your cousin.
All the previous college girlfriend jokes, complaining about not getting regular sex in the other Deadpool video, and now this? It's like Jeremy has been trying to communicate something this whole time, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Jeremy's f***ed his cousin before. FB, I was trying to be more subtle than that.
And that's the Deadpool compilation. Definitely products of their time, but still fun nonetheless. Speaking of, you want me to take care of the inevitable Deadpool 3 video later this year? Slow your roll there, big guy. You heard what you said to ass-ended Birdman. People don't like a full video of just you and your depressed vibe. At best, we can take turns. You know, like how we did this guy's mother.